Okay, so I'm gonna read this article real quick that I found. Um, it's been out for a while now. Puerto Rico's governor on Wednesday signed a law that prohibits discrimination against people wearing afros, curls, locks, twists, braids, and other hairstyles in the racially diverse U.S. territory. The move was celebrated by those who had long demanded explicit protection related to work, housing, education, and public services. It's a victory for generations to come, Wilmo Romero Joseph, a community facilitator with the nonprofit Taller Salud, said in an interview. The organization is one of several that had been pushing for the law, with Romero noting it sends a strong message that you can reach positions of power without having to change your identity. While Puerto Rico's laws and constitutions protect against discrimination, along with Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, a precedent was set in 2016 when a U.S. Court of Appeals dismissed a discrimination lawsuit that ruled that an employer's no dreadlock policy in Alabama did not violate Title VII. Early this year, legislation in the U.S. territory with several Puerto Ricans sharing examples of how they were discriminated against, including job offers conditional on haircuts. It's a familiar story, Romero, who recalled how a high school principal ordered him to cut his flat top. It was a source of pride, he said of that hairstyle. I was a 4.0 student. What did that have to do with my hair? With a population of 3.2 million, Puerto Rico has more than 1.6 million people who identify as being of two or more races, with nearly 230,000 identifying solely as black, according to the U.S. Census. Unfortunately, people identified as black or Afro descent in Puerto Rico still face derogatory treatment, deprivation of opportunities, marginalization, exclusion of all kinds of discrimination, the law signed Wednesday states. While Romero praised the law, he warned that measures are needed to ensure it's followed. On the U.S. mainland, at least 24 states have approved versions of the Crown Act, which aim to ban race-based hair discrimination and stands for creating a respectful and open world for natural hair. Amongst those states is Texas. After school officials said a young man's dreadlocks fell below his eyebrows and earlobes, he violated dress code. Some things are missing from this article, so I'm kind of sort of reading. And it's hard to fill in things because my printer didn't print off every word. So some stuff is missing, so I'll give y'all the link. A March report from the Economic Policy Institute found that not all states have amended their education codes to protect public and private high school students, and that some states have allowed certain exceptions to the Crown Act. A federal version was passed by the U.S. House Representatives in 2022, but it failed in the Senate. In May, Democratic lawmakers reintroduced the legislation. So I had a professor from the University of Washington who had come here from Puerto Rico. She's lighter skinned, fair skinned. And the way she taught about the systemic racism within Latin American communities, because that's what she would go on to teach in time, was remarkable. It's remarkable to me still that she came here speaking little to no English, and now she commands the language perfectly, as well as her own native Spanish tongue, of course, because you speak Spanish from Puerto Rico, and how she boldly spoke on issues as an example of this. That island nation got something right that we can't even get in the United States. And for years, don't get me wrong, I understand why even amongst us intra-racial, why some of us may not subscribe to some of these hairstyles. What I'm saying is when the hairstyle is clean, why is it affecting your job performance? Can you, what they assume would be a bad job performance based on hair? I need to take people back to times, I would say, between the early 1900s up until really now, early 21st century, which is the 2010s. See, we had to straighten our hair with straightening combs. I can remember when I was a little girl and a straightening comb fell out my mom's hand and bounced on my leg. That was the worst freaking feeling. And we went through that ritual every couple of days to straighten my hair out. And then as I got older, started putting in the perms, and I had long, pretty hair, but a bad perm took my hair out in like 1991, and I haven't been able to get it to grow past my shoulders since. So if you see this photo of me, I'm sitting at the ferry terminal in Bremerton. You can, if you look close, you can see where my hairline's been going because I engaged in putting braids in my hair to cover up the fact of what perms had done, but really because I didn't let it heal in its natural state, it just made things worse. So my thing is, while I no longer condemn people for wearing braids, though I personally don't think you should put weave in your hair, I understand that sometimes you're trying to cover up something because you're embarrassed of something that was put on to you as a child. Hint, hint, straightening your hair to fit some corporate norm. Because lots of people at the end of the day did this for their economic freedoms, played the game. And you have to understand that's not an easy conversation to have. So this was a great step that Puerto Rico had taken, given their history of systemic racism as well in that country. Because it's well known that you don't hear about their black populations too much. And when you listen to this man's story, you can just imagine being told with a 4.0 grade point average, because this is basically what he told him, that teacher told him, or whoever that institution told him as a kid. No matter how smart you are, the hair on the top of your head that you were born with is a problem. And again, I get that some school districts have issues with this, but I don't get it because I'm not going to sit here. Sometimes some of us think it's just hair. No, it's more than just hair. It's decades of being told to perm and hide who you are and play a game that just didn't work for your natural self. Well, again, I hope you all go read the story. I'm sure anybody with Afro-Puerto Rican heritage could probably chime in. Thank you all for listening. Have a good day.